Bouncing with that
drop. KCP in the middle. Bounce. Larry in there. Throw that baby down. Oh my goodness.
Dwight Howard. Are you kidding? With some anger.
Kyrie get out of that double team. With the hip fake. What a move by Hakeem Olajuwon.
LaVine, he goes right.
Oh! Does anybody know how to post video?
Welcome back in to the Drop Step Podcast, a memorable Drop Step Podcast. Hopefully they all are memorable, but we made it, fellas, to 10. Home team Brandon Leak, we got B-Dog, we got Book the Hook. How y'all doing this fine 10th podcast anniversary?
10 podcasts, baby. Milestone. Solid number 10, baby. Solid number.
We're doing what we can, how we can, the best we can. A lot to get to. We also want to give a shout out to the fine folks, family that we know. Our man Shaq Food Radio, doing us a solid, and we appreciate them, and we'll try to do our best for them as well.
Yes, sir. So starting this episode, not only will you be able to find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, but you'll be able to hear it and listen to it on Shaq Food Radio. Download the Shaq Food Radio app or go to ShaqFoodRadio.com. Shout out to the big fella. Shout out to all the people who work hard over at Shaq Food Radio.
Yeah, big fella is always helping out people with opportunities. And one of the things I'll say about Shaq, when I got started in covering him, he was one of the guys who was really good to the media. You know, sometimes folks, they act one way when they're playing, then when it's time not to play anymore, they want a media job.
Right.
They want to just try to slide on in and act like things weren't like they used to be. Nah.
You treated me.
Nah. Shaq did a solid to everything. I remember one time when he was very nice. The Lakers only come to Atlanta once a year, and I was a little late. Went to the Hawks locker room first, dipped into the Lakers locker room, dipped back, and tried to go back a second time.
Right.
Missed Shaq. And I said, Shaq, you got any more time? And he said, I'm done, player.
Yeah.
Give me next time, player. And I don't know if he remembered me or not.
Right.
For the following time they came to Atlanta, he was accessible because I was there on time.
Right.
And so I appreciate the big fella, as we all do. He's a big part of the NBA history, NBA culture now, and certainly part of a lot of opportunities that he is allowing other people to have. A lot to get to.
Absolutely.
Here, the 10th anniversary of the 10th episode of the Drop Step Podcast. We'll get into Kobe Bryant. He says his GOAT talk might be overrated. Is he right? Is he wrong? Do we even believe one word of that out of his mouth? We'll get to that. LeBron James, is he going to make good on a promise? He's promising Laker fans that things are going to be better. Better days are ahead. Is he going to be able to make good on that promise? We'll get to that. Looks like there's been one baller balling too big for Big Baller Brand, allegedly. We'll get to that, and it looks like Big Baller Brand might not be balling at all. We'll get to that. But we'll start off with what we do and talk about the local phenom and now the national phenom, Trae Young. Trae Young named Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Hits the game winner.
Not Rookie of the Week? Player?
Eastern Conference Player.
That's all of them, right?
You could drop the ER and call him player.
Oh.
Player of the week. That's everybody in the Eastern Conference.
All of them.
As Trae Young gets another fantastic week. He averages more than 25 points a game. The past week, he also averages more than 11 assists the past week. And then to top things off, he gets the teardrop to go and gets the game winner at home in a 129-127 win against the 76ers last week.
We were at that game. Well, I was at that game. And it was, first of all, it was a heck of a game. And to be honest, the way they were going back and forth, I said, this is set up perfectly for Trae Young. And lo and behold, he gets the ball top of the key, he drives, and he hits that floater. And the whole arena just goes crazy. And you just knew at that point in time, he had already kind of arrived, but that was his other moment. That was his moment. That was his first game-winning shot moment.
Yeah.
And he just took the next step. And it's like, to see it on ESPN, to see it all over the national news, I said, oh yeah, he's official now. He's arrived.
Bro, he's doing his thing, man. It's becoming consistent. It's giving you a lot to look forward to. the team is growing, man, and I'm glad to see that he's growing as well, man. This is what we've been waiting on. So to see him actually step up on that stage and actually take advantage of it, I was extremely happy. I was watching the game at the crib, about jumped up out my seat when he knocked the game winner down. So I was super crunk, man. So to see these cats actually pulling some wins, and you know what's crazy? They play Philadelphia. This is the second W they got off of Philadelphia in the last couple of months, man. They match up. I thought they match up with Philadelphia horribly, but they figure out a way to beat those cats, which is a really good sign of them.
And Philly comes back within another week or so.
Yep.
So that'll be the third time. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I think they play at a pace. I would agree with you, Book, that on paper and the way it looks, it's a bad matchup right now for the Hawks. But the Hawks have been able to neutralize a lot, and a lot has to do with head coach Lloyd Pierce, who needs to get a lot more talk, and Trae Young. The pace at which they play has somewhat been a neutralizer for teams that might have other advantages or things that neutralize what the Hawks do. The pace that they play, getting guys moving, getting guys going early, and not being down too far in games, even when they have to make comebacks, certainly has put them in a place where even when they don't win the games, it's exciting, competitive, and entertaining to watch.
So let me ask you this then. With what we're seeing right now out of the Hawks, are they ahead of schedule where you saw them at the beginning of this season? Are they behind schedule? Are they on schedule? What are you guys' thoughts with where we're kind of wrapping up this season at, where they're at right now?
I say as a team, I think they're right on schedule. I think Trae Young has really taken his game to another level. If anything, he may be way beyond schedule. The way, especially after the All-Star break, his numbers are absolutely ridiculous. And the great thing about it is to see his peers around the league speak so highly of him.
For sure.
And to think that, he is a real killer on the court. And to see the respect that he's garnered ever since the All-Star break, the team is right on schedule, but he and even John Collins, they are on that next level of, they're making Atlanta a place for a lot of free agents to really look at now.
Yeah, for me, they're ahead of schedule because I was just saying whatever Trae Young was going to be, whatever it turned out to be, it was going to be his rookie season. So we would need to wait till his second year to see what the future looked like. Now we see what the future looks like, and there is nothing but goodness coming out of Trae Young and John Collins. And the fact that with all of the accolades that he's gained so far with the Rookie of the Week awards and the Eastern Conference Player of the Week awards, he still isn't the leading scorer on the team. John Collins is leading the team in scoring. If Trae Young becomes the leading scorer and his assist numbers come up, the ceiling might be even higher. So when you throw that in with what the opportunities are, plus if this thing works out where the Hawks end up, let's just dig, if you will, a picture. They get the third pick and the fifth pick.
Oh, my goodness.
In the lottery.
Oh, my
They
goodness.
take both picks or they package up one and do something. Travis Schlenk, GM of the Atlanta Hawks, will have cleared the rebuild, have all of what he needs to start going into the future, and have a massive amount of cap space to go out and get free agents in the future if he wants. That, to me, puts them ahead of schedule, in my opinion, at least a year or two earlier than I thought.
So when we talk about, like I said, they are now somewhat of a viable destination for free agents this offseason. I know everybody's in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, obviously because he's the cream of the crop. But let's say, for instance, you don't get KD and he goes to, a lot of people are speculating, New York. Who do you think fits well with this Hawks team, considering that you may end up keeping, let's say you do get the third and the fifth pick. You keep your picks, you still have some cap space to go out and get somebody. So let's say you take, if the third pick you take RJ, and with the fifth pick you take a big man. Put them into the fold, and you're attracting, if you're looking at the free agent list and say, okay, well, which free agent kind of meshes well with what we have and what we want to do moving forward? Who do you, outside of Kevin Durant, who do you think kind of fits well in that mold?
There's only one top flight free agent in this summer's class that I would want in Atlanta outside of Kevin Durant, and that's Klay Thompson.
Klay.
Outside of KD and Klay, if we can't land either one of those, I say we don't even shoot for anything of that caliber. And now if we bring it down a notch, or two, and we drop down to tier 2, tier 3, I like somebody like, goodness my gracious, point guard for the Clippers right now. Patrick Beverly. I like Patrick Beverly and what he does to kind of fill a gap for what the Hawks have, like a defensively deficient point guard position right now.
Okay.
You can bring him in, play him off the ball with Trey, and I also like Marcus Smart. Not Marcus Smart, but Marcus Morris from Boston coming up on free agency as well. Another scrappy, gritty, defensively minded guy. If you can't get a top tier free agent, those are guys that can come in with specialties that fill gaps that the Hawks currently have.
I'm swinging for the moon.
Yeah.
I am holding out because I think, and Travis Schlenk has said it, you don't overpay players who aren't stars, star money.
Right.
So if you don't get one of those stars, I don't think they'll be in a place where they have to go out and overpay. And I agree with you, B-Dog. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do if they get 2 of these lottery picks, because what if it is the case you can get R.J. Barrett? Then do you go out and get a big man? Do you go get Jackson Hayes if he's there? Then all of a sudden you have Trae Young, you have Kevin Huerter, you have R.J. Barrett in theory, you have Jackson May, you have your entire team, youth, and on rookie contracts
Do you
for
need
a
a
few
free agent at that
years to
point?
go. That's where I'm going.
Right.
And here's the other thing. I think we all think that Kevin Durant has had enough in Golden State. But he's still under contract. He has an option.
Right.
Yeah.
He could opt out and then be a free agent in 2020. Now, I don't think he's going to do that, but dig, if you will, a picture. Why overspend on anybody this year if you're not going to get your hands on a player of that ilk who is going to immediately make you a contender to go to the Eastern Conference Finals or maybe the NBA Finals? What if he decides Draymond might be gone? I can stomach this one more year. We want another title. I want another one.
A new arena next year.
We're getting a new arena. Why not just do it one more again for the band? And then in 2020, 21, let's just see where the chips fall. That's when the Hawks might have their shot.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. The Draymond thing is gonna play a big role, and I think amongst Klay, Steph, Durant, and Draymond, the most expendable piece, obviously. Hey, Draymond, we appreciate all the energy and everything you brought to this team. Hey, bro, but we got to throw them deuces to you real quick, because everybody here is a much more viable and pivotal piece for our success than what you are. No disrespect, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
So I think if that's the case, KD will be more inclined to say, you know what, let me opt in. We're going into a new arena. The fans are already with us because we're continuing to win. They're probably going to win it again this year. So, I mean, hey, why not? Almost kind of like a fresh start in a sense.
Fresh end.
Really a fresh end, to be honest. So I think that's really going to play a pivotal part this offseason. This going to be a crazy summer.
You know what's interesting, man? Like, we're bringing up Draymond. I was just thinking, like, Draymond, his value in my eyes, like, on no other team does his value reach what it reaches on the Golden State Warriors.
I would agree.
You could put him on any other team, and even if his production stayed the same, it's nowhere near as impactful.
Is not the same.
No.
Yeah.
So I think Draymond Green's going to be in for a really rude awakening when he ventures into free agency.
Right.
That'll be something interesting to keep an eye on too, to see where his dollar amount ends up in the summer.
Question. Rookie of the year. Luka Doncic got off to a better start than Trae Young. There was a point where Trae Young was shooting 23% from behind the three-point arc. That's not the case anymore. Coming into this last weekend, he now has surpassed Luka on three-point percentage. So he got better over the course of the year. Rookie of the year. It should go to the best rookie. The question is, can there be more than one best? We've only had a tie when we had Grant Hill and Jason Kidd back in the 90s.
You can do it again.
Is there anything wrong with a tie, or is this participation trophy stuff we're getting into where, well, they both did well, so they both deserve it? Should there be a clear-cut winner based on the way Trae Young is wrapping up the season?
I would have no issue with them being co-rookie of the year recipients in a way, because Luka started off hotter, and Trae we were still trying to figure out what Trae was, and then after the All-Star break, Trae has now been the hot commodity, and Luka has really cooled off. So they've switched spots. I said at the beginning of the year that Luka was going to win the Rookie of the Year. I'm not as confident in that now because of the way Trae, just watching him play, watching the way that he commands that offense and commands everything on the floor. I'm not as confident in saying that right now. But at the same time, I can't take away what Luka has done and what he has meant to that Mavericks team. So I wouldn't be mad. But if I had to lean the needle one way now, it probably would be Trae. But if they were to split it, I would have no issue with it because both of them kind of switched spots throughout the first two halves of the season.
I'd have absolutely zero issue with it. I actually think, as of right now today, that it should be split. I don't think that there is one clear winner in this case, and I wouldn't be shocked if they decided that to go the split route either. And it's kind of interesting that Jason Kidd and Grant Hill were the last two to split it, because you're looking at two somewhat positional players mimicking back then. So it'd almost be it'd be a nice bit of synergy going on if these two were to split the award at this point. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I want to see Trae just keep crushing it a little bit longer, close out the season. That way he can go ahead and be the sole recipient of it. But at this point, I think it should be split.
Yeah, I think because it's happened that one time, it's an exception to the rule kind of thing. And I'm like you, Book. I would rather see Trae just outright win it because it is the whole season. So you could start off, you are a rookie, and his path to the NBA is different from Luka Doncic.
Right, absolutely.
Luka's been playing with professional players since he's been a teenager, and Trae Young would be a sophomore in college right now. So they're different. Their paths are different. Their body types are different. One guy is a big guy. One guy is a smaller point guard. They both have been impactful for their respective franchises, and they both have shown flashes that they can put franchises and other players on their backs. So this might be one of those cases where I don't like ties. Make a decision. If they end up splitting it, I don't think you could say either one was not worthy.
No.
And both are worthy.
Right.
And so I could live with it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's funny because we mentioned this, I think, on another episode where everybody wanted to talk about where Luka came from and who he played against. But it's funny how people want to use that against him when it comes to the MVP, but they were using that same thing against him before he got drafted. Will he be able to hold up in the league? Because those professionals overseas are not the same professionals that are here.
That's true.
So the argument has
moving
switched
target
up.
almost.
Yeah, so you can't use some people. I don't like when people use that. Keep the same argument all the way through. If they're not the professionals that are here in America, then that shouldn't be used against him in the rookie year.
Yeah, but he's the EuroLeague's. They're not garbage players.
No, they're not.
And it's a different game. So,
Right.
A guy scoring 14 points or 18 points a game in that league would translate to a guy scoring 27 or 28 in the NBA. So there are differences, and you go either way. They don't play 5 games a week, 4 games a week either. Sometimes they only play twice a week. So, there's some give and take. I don't have a problem if they end up splitting it the way Trae Young is coming down the stretch. And now the support he's getting publicly with Donovan Mitchell tweeting out he should be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Where you see Kyle Kuzma saying this guy should be Rookie of the Year. When you see Blake Griffin, a guy who has been Rookie of the Year, saying Trae Young is the Rookie of the Year, that's a heck of a peanut gallery supporting and calling out your name.
Now, as a huge Trae Young supporter, I do want to point out the fact that Blake Griffin is a Sooner. So he's gonna side with him.
You got to see what's in the jury pool.
As well as Donovan Mitchell is an Adidas guy.
Yeah, there you go.
So he's gonna side with
There
him.
it is.
Yeah.
But Kyle Kuzma, I will take that as a valid entry
Right.
on the Rookie of the Year vote ballot. But the other two, not that they're not. I did just at least
But there
want
are
to
other
balance the
little
field
things
out.
in there. Yeah, I got you.
I just
I
at
got
least wanted to point out the
Yeah.
asterisk. But Team Trae Young all the way over here.
Should either franchise, the Mavericks or the Hawks, think about a do-over? If you had, knowing what you know now, what you see now, what has been produced now, if they had to do it all over again, would the Hawks and the Mavericks do the same thing? Would the Hawks say,
Yeah.
you know what? Luka could work well, because the truth is, if the Hawks pick Luka, he'd still be playing with Kevin Huerter. He'd still playing with John Collins. He'd still be playing with Dwayne Dedmon and Alex Len. He'd still pretty much have the same team. He would be on the same team that Trae Young would be on. Now, because of their team and how it's constructed, Dallas might not do that. But all things being equal, would you do the exact same thing again, knowing what you know now with both of those players?
Yes. And I say that not so much because what's on the court, because both players are play very well and they're very talented. But I think you take into the off the court matter. I think for Atlanta personally, Trae is a little bit more marketable for this city. The Trae TL, the Ice Trae, I think he just fits the mold of this
You don't
city.
think Quavo will be kicking it with Luka?
Luka's got swag.
Nah.
And I'm not taking anything away from Luka.
Nah, I feel you,
but
bro. I was
just the
just
way
about
I
to say.
think, like a lot of the entertainment,
No doubt.
a lot of the rappers, a lot of the actors have embraced Trae, and all the nicknames that have, like, that's Trae TL,
Yeah.
Ice Trae. You know, those things kind of just flow. Like coming up with, I wonder what nickname they would have came up with for Luka.
Kind of Matador is all right. They're going with that one. And he's a man. He's 20 years old. You know, you got him down there to the AU Center. He running around with those Spelman girls. He might have a little bit more swag with him.
And I'm not taking anything
Showing
away
up
from
at
him.
State Farm Arena.
Look, because I think he would have been a baller on the floor. You know, at 6'9" and to have the skill set of a point guard like he does in Dallas.
Spelman women, let me correct that.
Spelman women, there you go. So on the court, it's not much as on the court as it is kind of off the court, and I think that kind of matters as well, how the city embraces you. I think Dallas is perfect for Luka because Mark Cuban loves his foreign players. You know, that city is used to Dirk. They now have Porzingis.
Yeah.
You throw Luka in there, you great. They're
Honestly,
used to that.
I think that the long-term projection of both of these players, I think, and me and you talked about this off tape a while ago, I think that the turnaround for the Atlanta Hawks having Trae Young at the helm is a quicker turnaround, quicker rebuild than the Dallas Mavericks rebuild with having Luka at the helm. I think it's it's a much easier rebuild based around Trae than it is based around Luka.
Okay, let me ask this, and just to throw this out there.
Talk
Is
to
it
me.
an easier rebuild because of the conference that you're in? Because even with Luka and Porzingis, I don't know how those two are going to work out. You're talking about two cornerstone pieces. We saw how Porzingis was in New York before he got injured. So if that's the same Porzingis that we're going to see and you get that in Dallas mixed with what Luka is, could that they could be on a fast track when it comes to their rebuild as
I
well.
gotta see, you're absolutely right. I have to see that combination
Right.
in tandem to be able to evaluate that. But just knowing the way that Trae plays as a facilitator,
Right.
he's able to get other people involved in the game and their game elevates to a certain extent. I can see that out of him making the turnaround much quicker than the turnaround for Dallas around Luka. I feel like Trae Young affects the game a little bit differently than Luka does, and that's going to mature a little bit faster.
I still think there's a lot to be decided. You have to see, first of all, if the Hawks get the lottery pick. If Dallas ends up getting one of those protected slots and the Hawks don't get it, and
boy's
then
playing.
the Mavericks get Luka and their lottery pick, oh boy.
Yeah.
If the Hawks end up getting a higher seed with the ping pong balls and they get higher and the Mavericks pick, oh boy.
Oh, boy.
There's just a lot of factors still to go with about 3 weeks left in the season to make the determination who got the better end of the deal initially.
I don't think, and the pressure has always been on the ping pong balls throughout the year. But it's a lot of, at least for Dallas and Atlanta, I don't think there's been as much pressure on ping pong balls for us in Dallas
No.
as there's ever been.
No.
Like, you really betting on that ping pong ball.
And we've seen a lot of losing in this rebuild. And just like there's no such thing as a halfway crook, ain't no such thing as a halfway tank. So no need to come this far and miss out on what we've been trying to accomplish. And I think GM of the Hawks, Travis Schlenk, needs to get every piece of ammunition he can to help start his regime, because once this draft is over, this will certainly be his team. Switching gears, was a big baller balling too much in Big Baller Brand?
Oh boy.
We don't know, so these are allegations, not proffered by us, but it looks like a member of the Big Baller Brand company, Alan Foster, has fallen out of favor with Lonzo Ball, with LeVar Ball, and there are allegations that over the years he has misdirected, misguided, siphoned, funneled, taken $1.5 million from the Big Baller business.
But you know what? There was a new report yesterday. I don't know if you saw. They said it was his brother,
Yeah,
D'Angelo Ball.
they're attaching blame to other people now.
Yeah.
Allegedly. We are not proffering
A lot
anything
of
on the
alleged
Drop
in this
Step
one.
podcast. We are not spewing accusations against anyone. What we're saying is what they are saying, what they
Exactly.
say. And Lonzo has distanced himself from the company, and it looks like Big Baller Brand might be in big trouble. Now, I will say, I think ultimately it's sad to me. You had a legitimate opportunity with a unique player and a position where a young man getting ready to go to the NBA had his own shoe company and had a chance playing in Los Angeles
Right.
to use that platform of the Lakers, his star power coming in, his daddy all over ESPN and all the Fox channels and all of that to help promote it. And ultimately, it looks like it's not going to succeed. That's sad to me.
It's a shame. It really is, because, you know, we look at especially African Americans who take things into their own hands, who are creators, and they create their own lane. And it's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with signing with Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour, but when you have the ability and the foresight to be able to create your own brand, create your own shoe, create your own clothing line and things underneath that brand, that's a powerful thing. That says a lot to people, especially in the black community, that
No doubt.
you don't always have to go here, go here, go here. Look, we've created our own. Y'all come to us and let's build this empire. Let's build this empire together. And to see the turn that this thing has taken is unfortunate. But in a way, I'm not surprised, because there have been many times when people were ordering shoes, they didn't get them.
Lord have mercy.
Got the wrong kind.
Lord have mercy.
So my thing is, that's a bad sign in itself. In a small company, like if I'm paying $600 for a pair of shoes, who I
$300
ain't
for
never,
flip-flops.
$5.95.
I ain't never seen nobody wear the Big Baller
How
brand.
much are LeBron's and KD's combined?
$320?
You're
Yeah.
asking people to pay. And let's keep it real. I'm not getting in anybody's pockets. To each his own. It costs $20 to make a pair of sneakers. Okay? $20. From start to finish, to boxing, to shipping from the rooter to the tutor. Everything over $20 is profit. That's why it's a great business to be in.
Oh,
That's why
absolutely.
the sadness in it for me is, to your point, it could have been an African-American owned business, something that could have sparked change for all star players. What if Zion Williamson decided to come out, have his own shoe company, use his likeness, use his platform? I thought a great opportunity was wasted. But now, with the shenanigans that Lonzo used, the tactics that LeVar used to promote the business and his son. One thing about this country, people like to take a bite at folks when things go the wrong way.
Right.
And so you have to know some of that is coming too,
Yeah.
because of all of the talk he was doing and all of the promoting and free promotion he was getting to promote his product. It now looks like it's gone down by the riverside.
And go ahead, Book.
I was just gonna say they set themselves up for this. Just like you said, home team. With the tactics that LeVar used going into this, it made it really easy for people on the outside looking in to root against it. And then to kind of, at this point, you're giving people what they want, which is the ultimate failure.
Right.
The egg is all on your face right now.
Absolutely.
And you're the one that put it there. You kind of asked for this by doing it the way that you did it. I hate to see the way that this went down, because to start all this off, before LeVar is even involved in this, Lonzo comes off as a really likable cat, you know, that you can get behind and want to support as his sole entity, as by himself, removed from his father. But once you add that in there, it just makes it really easy to hope that this doesn't go right, and it's unfortunate.
And I'm all for, your LeVar's out on every TV show making all these bold claims at one point.
They bringing him in. If you invite him and he accepts
absolutely.
the opportunity, it's not his fault.
You got your big baller brand hat, pants, shoes, shirt, everything on. I'm all good with that. You making bold claims about Lonzo, LiAngelo, LaMelo. You making bold claims about yourself. Even when it comes to Michael Jordan, talking I can do this and I can do that. Look, whatever. All that is fine and good. You have, your brand is on a national stage. Yeah. But with all that being said, there's still business to conduct. You have to have the right people within your business that is going to take care of the money, people who you can trust that are not going to steal. They're not going to take from you or use you in a way in which is a detriment to your company. And that just seems like that's not the way it was. Things were not being handled correctly.
I think that's the long and the short of it, that the entire Big Baller brand experience, from us hearing from LeVar, from the first time any of us heard him to where it is right now, a great idea, bad execution.
In the words of Pimp C, take that monkey ish off. You embarrassing us.
It's just unfortunate.
R.I.P. baby.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
When you look at, and I shaking hands with Alan Foster when they came to Atlanta for their JBA tryouts when LeVar Ball started his JBA league. Went down there and looked. LeVar didn't come to that one, but looked his brother and I, shook his hand, interviewed Lonzo and talked to Lonzo. They all seemed very genuine, and so just seeing what it could have been and where it is now, it's just too bad, and you hope the next time somebody does try this, they learn from the mistakes of maybe Big Baller Brand's demise. If it is out, what I think they need to do is just cut everything down by about 80%. We went to their website. They do have a sale that they're running right now.
It should be.
Yeah, I don't think it's down to 50% yet. It's still about $400.
Man, they tripping.
And the other thing, I don't, like you said, for the next person or group of people, especially people of color who want to step out and do something like this, don't let this deter you from doing it. Learn from it. Say, okay, this is what they did right and this is what they did wrong. Let's right the wrong and then carry it forward. Don't let this deter you from starting your own thing. It never deterred Nike, it never deterred Adidas, it never deterred Under Armour, and it shouldn't deter you.
I hope they do it again. I honestly hope they go back to the drawing board and they try it again.
Yeah, sometimes businesses don't work the first go around. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. No. Trial and error. I mean, they're looking back on it, I hope they can see the error in their ways and that they can take advantage of what they have already tried to create.
I'm not that kind of a businessman. I'm just thinking, even if you charge $100 for a pair of sneakers, can't you make a profit in a business? Wouldn't you flood the market more often? Aren't more parents able to buy children's shoes, or grown people?
Absolutely.
There are a whole lot of grown people that can't afford $600 sneakers, and if they could, where are they going to wear them? So you're already marketing to a select few and an upper echelon of people with discretionary income. Why not, if you want to redo it, my advice would be market to the masses. Make it $50. Who's selling $50 top brand, top quality sneakers? Nobody.
How much did the Starberries sell for?
$10.
Kmart.
Yeah.
$10. I had 2 pairs of Starberries. I appreciated what Stephon Marbury did, trying to make shoes that didn't look worse than anything else you would buy affordable. I bought 2 pairs.
Yeah, facts. That is true. I mean, it's okay to make things affordable for everybody. And when people see that, they see a top flight athlete. Oh, look, it's a top flight athlete, got a shoe. Not only does he have a shoe out, but he's made it affordable. Hey, let's go support. He's doing it for people who are from low income housing, who may look up to him, because that may be a place where he came from and want those people to support him, and also realize that, look, somebody from this area can do this and they not burning a hole in your pocket.
And a lot of athletes have, spoken up about that exact issue. Donovan Mitchell, one of the most recent ones, made sure that his shoe was at a lower price point with Adidas so that it was more accessible.
Right.
A lot of the other athletes, Kyrie, KD, LeBron, they've actually got other lines underneath their named lines with Nike that are a little bit more, financially achievable. So it's you don't have to shoot $500, man. I mean, and if you got a $500 option,
right,
have $100 option.
Have options.
That's a much better way to go about it. That way just like you said, you're marketing to the masses, something for everybody.
Heck, even somebody like even Apple, you know, when you go get your phone, they may have different levels of phones that are different price options because you don't always have to get the most expensive.
Get a
one.
big baller credit plan, a big baller payment plan.
Yeah.
Something that's, $600. At least let me put something on it if I really
ain't a
want
bad
it.
idea, honestly.
$60 a month for 10 months.
It really ain't. You
Start at the beginning of the year,
big
next
baller
season.
finance
Yeah.
shoes.
Start at the beginning of the season. Next season, I can be able to give me some big baller shoes when I go to
Big
the
baller building credit, baby.
It's a big baller card. One
Yeah,
finger on
real
that,
talk.
LeVar. Switching gears, moving to LeBron James. Will he be able to make good on his promise? He's promising Laker fans that better days are coming. I think missing the playoffs this year might be a blessing in disguise. It might be the best thing for him as he heads further into his 30s. The man clearly is in great condition, but he's still going to be well into his 30s, and Father Time is going to catch up with everybody, with all of the minutes, all of the bangings, all of the playoff games, all of the Olympic games, all of the basketball he's played. He didn't have time to rest. So now, coming off of a situation where they've been eliminated for the playoffs, he won't have any basketball he has to play for 5 months, and I believe reinforcements are on the way. That mess that they have at LA won't be the same. Probably a new coach is on the way. I think this might be a blessing in disguise that he didn't just drag them to the 8th seed and get embarrassed for no reason by the Golden State Warriors or the Denver Nuggets.
You know how they always say there's a saying called "Don't talk about it, be about it." I love LeBron. I'm tired of LeBron going on Twitter, making whatever announcement after anything goes wrong or something is not right, talking about how better days are coming. I just want the better days to come. And
Show me the baby.
just show me the baby. My thing is, you're in LA. We expect better days to come. We don't need you to tell us that better days are coming. We've been expecting that for some years now. Now, look, you may have been saying that may have soothed some souls in LA or around the country, around the world, somewhere for some Lakers fans. But for most of us, bro, just do it. You know, I don't need to hear from Magic or Rob Pelinka or somebody in the front office of the Lakers organization always telling me that better days are coming. That Laker across that chest, better days better be coming. That's a historical trademark. That is a brand like no other. Better days better be coming. I don't need you to speak for that.
Let me play devil's advocate real quick, because I know you said, home team, that that this won't last, and that reinforcements are coming, and this will be a nice little time for him to have off, some personal time, some rest up. LeBron's in LA. LeBron went to LA, in part for the entertainment and the other non-curricular activities that come along with Los Angeles. So this non-playoff, this summertime that we creep into where he's not, playing basketball, are you not worried that some of those obligations rear their head while he's got this extra time? Because honestly, I feel like they've reared their head during the season.
Are they distractions?
Yeah.
Because he's been more successful with his cable shows, his ESPN shows, his Showtime stuff, what he's coming up with, the reality show coming up with Tim Tebow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those have been more successful than the basketball. Now, I'm not going to say just flippantly that is the reason why. The reason why the Lakers can't shoot free throws and can't shoot three-pointers. That's the problem. He's on a bad team. But to your point, Book, going for the other things outside of basketball is something he hasn't had to deal with on a regular basis. Are those distractions, are those fair things to bring up? Or, are we criticizing too heavily because we try to say that athletes with opportunities should use their platforms to be all they can be? And if he's doing that and he's still performing at a high level, not his teammates, is that really a problem?
Well, I can tell you this much. If my job ever starts to slip in the sales department, David Dickey's going to have a conversation with me about doing this podcast. So I feel like the same thing should be applied to LeBron James on a higher level based on his actual financial, like his job.
Yes, but it won't. It won't because of the cachet that LeBron James had. I agree with you wholeheartedly and 1,000%. I just don't see anybody bringing LeBron to the table and say, "Hey, bro,
Yeah, because how can you?
and that's where I'm coming from. Hey, dog, You know, look, I know you got your business, you know, you got your new show out. It's dope, by the way.
I watched it.
But we just feel as though these extracurricular activities off the court are affecting things on the court. I want to see who's going to sit in front of LeBron and his crew and tell him that. Matter of fact, if you find somebody bold enough to do it, fly me out so I can be in the room because I want to be in that room during that exchange.
I mean, and that's what we do. I mean, I don't think that it's a case where the conversation will actually take place between LeBron and fill in the blank. But like, I mean, as you know, doing what we do, just tossing around the idea of it, like, I think that it does become somewhat of a distraction. I mean, and he opens himself up for that by going there. He had to know that.
I think that we thought he was setting himself up for life after basketball with these moves, and now they're kind of going on while the bad basketball with the Lakers is going on. So anytime something bad is happening, people are going to be more critical. But I think the biggest criticism rather should go to Magic Johnson, because what he promised and what he put out there and what he tried to do hasn't worked. I think LeBron James has worked. The other stuff hasn't worked, and I don't think that's necessarily on LeBron James.
I can't give Magic credit for LeBron.
No, I don't give him full credit.
What?
I don't.
You don't think he sold to him? Look at these jerseys and the Raptors. Look at how these immortals are the best of the best, and you could be one of these guys? Y'all don't believe in that?
As an amazing, the amazing basketball mind that LeBron James has, I don't think you had to sell him on that. I think he's been in Staples plenty of times. He's looked up plenty of times. Matter of fact, the person who's telling him to look up at the Raptors, you're his idol.
So my thing is, like, you know, and we talked about this before as well. You know, Magic Johnson, great basketball player. Needless to say. Magic Johnson, great business mind.
Right.
Needless to say. Magic Johnson as a general manager of an NBA basketball team, not so well.
Well, I'm just saying, y'all telling me, I just can't buy what y'all's telling me. LeBron James said, you know, I just got to get here to play with this Alex Caruso. This Scott Machado is the kicker. You know, JaVale McGee, the champion, is why I'm coming to LA. I'm not going to buy what y'all are selling me. Magic Johnson sold him a car, and now the manifold and the timing belt and the starter all have issues.
But I can't blame that car completely on Magic, because some of the parts he ran through LeBron.
Well, he got in it. LeBron liked it and said, I want to get in it. He said, I want to get in it. And with me driving, it'll be okay.
Right.
And now oil is leaking, engine and oil lights are blinking and bonking, and it is driven off of the road. They're going to have to get it towed to the NBA lottery and then towed to the draft.
Well, let's just hope that at some point in time this offseason, you know, finances are right, credit scores look good, and we can go to a much more expensive dealership, start to look around the lot, and pick out a couple of cars that, you know, LeBron and Laker Nation and everybody else around the world who may like or dislike Laker Nation can say, you know what, these cars right here, they work well in this lot. You know, go ahead and grab them, and then we can ride next to Golden State, and we can be relevant again. We can ride next to these people who have been competitive for the last 5 to 6 years. Because right now we in a hoopty.
So let's. I mean, I think we can all be in agreement that Luke Walton will not be the one driving this car that turns this around.
No, they're switching drivers.
Okay.
They're just switching. They're switching.
Off the top of you guys' heads, like, with the candidates that would be available to drive this car for the Lakers, who do you guys see somebody that would be able to actually lead them in the right direction?
Well, obviously, you know, the reports have been talking a lot about Jason Kidd and Ty Lue.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I would want them to also look at, and I'm surprised he don't have a job yet? Mark Jackson. Can I not give Mark Jackson a look? Is Mark Jackson's basketball mind not something that LeBron James himself would respect?
I think Mark Jackson has been I don't know, blackballed, but he won't be brought to the forefront because of his comments he made when he was with Golden State on his position. He's into the church and a religious man,
Right.
And his comments about gay Americans, and that's tough when he was working in an organization that has an openly gay member of general management. So I think he's kind of blackballed himself
It's gonna be a tough
because
sell.
Yeah.
his personal opinions don't jive with the current environment, and people just don't want problems outside of the basketball.
Right, and
Tough
especially
sell.
in that state,
Yeah.
California. Yeah, I guess.
I really like the Jason Kidd idea though.
Yeah.
I like that idea, man. I think that LeBron has never ever been coached in his career. I think that there are people that have. I think Eric Spoelstra called plays that worked well for that team. I don't think that LeBron has ever really required a coach. He's just that smart of a guy and that smart of a basketball player. I think that at this point in his career, he actually needs coaching.
What about his leadership skills? Because I think that's the one criticism. When things started going badly for the Lakers, and people defended and also criticized on both ends, his body language, and then saw Damon Jones come out and
Yeah.
showed a video where his body language has always been like this. His leadership skills, as he's getting a little bit older, maybe his patience
Right.
is a little bit shorter, and maybe he needs players who are a little bit more a team that's more veteran latent for him to be able to not get in those moods. But I think his leadership skills, because he does have a lot of, if they don't get rid of everybody, a lot of young players that
Right.
are going to need to learn and do what he tells them to do. And if he turns them off or causes a rift in the locker room where they don't follow him like they all should, that's a problem.
And I think that kind of plays into the head coach. Like LeBron is looked at. If LeBron doesn't respect the head coach, these young cats won't respect the head coach.
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's the number one priority. Find someone that LeBron respects so that he can preach that to the choir downward. This is our guy, and now I'm going to lead based on his example.
But they always talked about LeBron needs somebody whose basketball mind is better than his.
Right.
But that is a very, very, very short list of people.
That's fair.
He's always talked about his love and affirmation for Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's nowhere in the world we get Pop. Pop's staying in San Antonio. There's no reason for him to leave. I've heard rumblings about Phil Jackson. Number one, Phil Jackson is not in the health, and he's not in the physical capability to be able to coach. And number two, I don't know if LeBron James really respects Phil Jackson off of the posse comment that he made, especially in his book. But that is another mind. Those are two minds that has seen it all, been through it all, and those are the minds that I think are greater than LeBron James when it comes to the game of basketball. Like I said, that's a very short list.
Absolutely.
You have to find somebody that has a strong mind, but also somebody LeBron James respects.
Well, I think Jason Kidd has won as a player, so he's a champion.
Right.
Ty Lue won with LeBron James, so he's a coach. These are not dummies. So, if you need a certain, and fit is important, not just for LeBron James, but for any star player.
Right.
If LeBron James needs a certain type of coach to deal with him or to coach him or to coach his teammates, I don't think those two names are out of whack. Jason Kidd probably might be a little bit more ready to go now, because I still don't know how in one offseason they're going to get all of the ammunition they're going to need, but they're certainly going to be able to draw some talent with LeBron James certainly as the main draw.
I prefer Jason Kidd. I don't want Ty Lue in LA and this to become like another just Cleveland type of thing. I
Right.
want another guy in there who I think LeBron James would respect, but is also a fresher mind who is going to be highly sought out. He's being sought out by some college teams as well. But I would want something fresh. I don't want him to bring in a guy who that he likes, but just lets him get away with just anything. And that's what Ty Lue is. That's who I see him to be.
Yeah.
I don't need this to be a Cleveland of the West.
I would, if they go with Ty Lue, I mean, like I said earlier, LeBron's never been coached. Ty Lue has been his head coach before. So I feel like you're literally rinse, wash, repeat. Granted, they did win a championship paired together, so I can get the
Thank you,
traction on
LeBron.
that. Yeah, of course.
That's what that is.
But I wouldn't even consider Ty Lue, because exactly what you said. Like, you don't. Magic himself came out and said we're not going to be Cleveland 2.0. what else in the world could you be branding yourself as by bringing in Ty Lue following LeBron James, other than Cleveland 2.0?
Right, exactly. You're trying to do exactly what they did.
You got to go in a different direction. So.
All right, wrapping things up, Kobe Bryant says he just wants to take a look back and enjoy greatness. He doesn't think we need, or he needs to focus on the whole NBA GOAT debate. My opinion, Kobe needs to stop. He needs to stop it. He knows he wanted to go out being the GOAT, one of the GOATs of GOAT era and GOAT respect. I'm gonna need Kobe to stop.
Kobe wildin', man.
Yeah, I'm gonna need him to stop.
Kobe is wild. I mean, now
Kobe, love you, baby, but I'm gonna need you to stop.
Kobe is one of the best basketball players I've ever seen play with my own eyes, man. Like, there's the conversation needs to be had. I mean, I don't think that Kobe is on the Michael Jordan, LeBron James level. Obviously, I would put him number 3 behind those two in my era that I've seen play with my own eyes.
Man.
But like Kobe said himself, though, you know, he doesn't engage in things that he can't win definitively. This is as much of an undefinitive argument as there ever could be. Completely, you know, up to, you know, specifics of the person. So I like Kobe, but he ain't my GOAT.
You know, listening to that interview, it amazed me listening to Kobe because that's not. You can see that Kobe has somewhat turned the corner. You know, he left everything on the court because if you would have asked him, and I don't know if I necessarily even believe him now, but there was something about it when he said it, and I'm like, I think he really actually believes what he's saying. And I think he's really kind of turned the corner. It's like, look, I left everything I had out there on the court. I moved on. It is what it is. Part of me doesn't really believe it, but another part is kind of like, I really think it's kind of like, look, I had a 20-year career in the league. I played the best I possibly could. I'm focused on the next 20 years. So I don't know what to believe. Like you said, part of it, like Houston hit me up. He hit us up in the group chat the other day saying, well, Kobe don't care because Kobe know he ain't part of this conversation. And I felt it hit me a certain type of way in my chest when he said that, as with him being my favorite player and him being a part of my team for 20 years. It hit me a certain type of way, but I think sometimes the truth also kind of hits you a certain type of way. So as tough as it is for me to say, it is what it is. Look, whether he believes it or not, or whether he pays attention to it or not, most people don't have him in that discussion.
Well, I'm not going to disrespect this man. He's
Please
one of the
don't.
greats. We don't cuss on this podcast. All I'm going to say is Kobe needs to cut it out. He knows there's some GOAT talk going on. It's going to always go on. He knows he liked the GOAT talk while he was playing.
Of course.
So I'm going to need the coach on this one to just cut it out.
Have y'all ever seen the meme on Instagram and Twitter where, like, it's this dude running, and at the top it says, when LeBron fans and Jordan fans are having a debate about the GOAT, and Kobe fans want to run, and Kobe fans want to run into the situation. It's this dude just running super fast. It's funny. It makes me mad, but it's funny at the same time. And I think every time people have a GOAT debate, and it's usually now between LeBron and Mike, I'm going to be the one to throw his name in there just to see the reaction on people's faces, because I just think, you know, whether you're a Kobe fan, a Laker fan, or you're both, you know, you're all based off what you saw. You're always just going to throw his name in there. And we know the animal that Kobe is. Even though he may say certain things, we know deep down inside, he believes that he's the greatest of all time. I mean, he should believe that.
This is why I need him to stop.
Kobe's on. He may not be my GOAT, but he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if he's not on your Mount Rushmore, you're messing up.
He's one of the best. We hope this is one of our best podcasts. This is podcast number 10. Want to say
10, baby.
To everybody who's been subscribing and downloading. We'll be back next week. We want to say thanks to Big Shaq, the big fella, helping us out, move some product down the road, and we wish him success in all of his new endeavors that he has decided to go into, as he will certainly be somebody to look up to off the court once again. We'll see y'all next time here on the Drop Step Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.